So after about a 3-hour bus ride, finally made it to Chichen Itza, ancient ruins. So the bad news is they would not let me take my external camera microphone inside the park. So I had to leave that in a locker. But we're here, we'll just have to improvise. Chichen Itza, located in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, is one of the 7 modern wonders of the world. The pyramid structure located in the center of the grounds, the first thing you see is called El Castillo, and it is the largest of all the pyramids in Chichen Itza. As you walk around the main site, you can hear people clapping near the base of the pyramid because the sound echoing off the steps creates a bizarre resemblance of a bird. And speaking of steps, each of the 4 sides has exactly 91 steps. And if you include the final step at the top, the total number of steps surrounding all 4 sides is 365, which should be of no surprise since it was based on the solar orientations of the Mayan calendar, which, just like our own, also has 365 days in the year. So it's my understanding that Chichen Itza was almost like the capital of the Mayan Empire. There's evidence that suggests that this area was first founded around 600 AD, but it slowly rose to power and reached its peak around 900 to 1000 AD. And just a couple hundred years later, in 1200 AD, somewhere around that time, Chichen Itza fell and sort of lost its prominence. It lost its cultural dominance on the region. There is, however, a lot more to Chichen Itza than a big pyramid. It was, after all, one of the largest Mayan cities to ever exist, and is unique in the sense that it has an odd variety of architectural styles referencing an impressive number of surrounding regions. And despite strict protections, you can touch some areas of the ruins, such as the group of 1,000 columns. And luckily, much of the grounds are actually shaded as they are hidden within the surrounding forest and is definitely a much welcome break from the hot Mexican sun. So I'm surprised there are literally vendors everywhere throughout this park. We're inside of some sort of house, or maybe even like a worship structure. It appears there's a shrine in here. As you keep walking back further into Chichen Itza, you'll come across another, much smaller pyramid called the Osario Pyramid. It looks similar to El Castillo, except this temple was built on top of a natural cave, which is said to have been one of the places where the Mayans actually practiced human sacrifice. I heard that the Mayans were of course very dependent on the climate, and relied on rainy seasons to grow and produce food. But the Mayans were also very superstitious, and believed that in years of drought, sacrifice would please the gods and bring rain to the region. When times were especially hard, humans alongside animals would be sacrificed in hopes of good fortune and plentiful rain. If you were to explore any of these natural caves that are littered all throughout Chichen Itza, you would find the remains of human bones and valuable jewels. The Mayans also participated in sport and built the largest ball court in Mesoamerica. Standing here in person, these walls are huge, standing pretty close to 30 feet tall in some areas. But it wouldn't be the Mayans without some good old human decapitation, and many of the murals on the wall depict how their sports could have been particularly brutal. So what did I take away from all of this? Well, first, the Mayans were actually way more advanced than perhaps some of us give them credit for. I can only imagine how this city looked at its peak. but I bet it's nothing like how we tend to picture Native American culture. Chichen Itza, in a way, was a superpower of the region, forming vast and intricate trade networks and cultural ties that can still be seen to this day. If you are at all interested in ancient civilizations, I bet there aren't many areas in the world that are this old and this well preserved. And who knows, maybe one day I'll get the chance to climb El Castillo myself and experience what the kings saw 1,000 years ago. I'm currently sitting here on this rock on the ground, waiting for my bus, drinking my smoothie. But I just got out of Chichen Itza, and I'd have to say, if you're staying in Tulum and you take the 2 hour or so drive up here to visit, it is worth your time. But I also think that the Tulum ruins that I went to the other day were actually more interesting. These ruins, Chichen Itza, are by far superior, but it's so big, you have to walk a lot, it's hot, and I kind of miss that sea breeze you get at the Tulum ruins, but they're all great. It's definitely worth your time. Tomorrow I'm going to Mexico City. Never been before, but I'm flying there tomorrow afternoon, so stay tuned for that.